Jobina, what do you know about the 10,000 hour rule? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, if you practice something for 10,000 hours, you've mastered it. Isn't that right?
Yeah. And it became popular because of Malcolm Gladwell's book,
yes.
Outliers. Have you read that book?
Yes, I love Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah,
I've
I
read
love
Blank.
Malcolm.
Oh, that one's good too.
Oh yeah. I have you. Do you listen to his podcast?
Mm-hmm. I love him.
So good. Turns out though, the 10 hours. A lot of people have pushed back on that.
Okay. Oh, Malcolm is wrong.
Yeah. Well. So Malcolm Gladwell got this from some researchers at Florida State. I think the guy's name is Anders Ericsson, a professor of psychology at Florida State, and he sort of published this study about how, and it was basically related to the practice of violin, and looking at the concert violinists, they all had just 10 years of mastery, 10,000 hours. And of course, Malcolm Gladwell ran with that, and of course, parents just ran with that, just like I want my kid to be great at this thing. We're going to do 10,000 hours. And even the author of the study said that what people often don't consider is the quality of the teacher as well. So it's not just go do 10,000 hours. It's go do 10,000 hours under good instruction. And I think I feel bad for a lot of kids whose parents sort of adopted this mentality, just hook, line, and sinker.
Get your hours in.
Yeah, because and there, I don't know about it with violin. I don't know. I'm not in that world. But I think there are really good. I think you can be a natural at something. And there could be a concert violinist who has 4,000 hours. Or you could do 20,000 hours and still not make it. And I think that's the part that's painful, is that parents think, oh, this is the recipe. I'm not totally sure that's the recipe.
In education, we talk about this as it relates to pre-K, because everyone is like, oh my gosh, every kid needs a pre-K education. Try to do full day. And we're like, yeah, but it's got to be a high-quality pre-K program.
Right.
Or
Right,
you just sent your kid to school all day for nothing.
Right. So this 10,000 hours comes up in the show. Let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Hey everyone, this is Luther Palmer.
And I'm Jobina Scott.
And welcome to One Episode Stand, a podcast where each episode we watch and discuss a series premiere of a new television show with no spoilers.
And then, like the Rolling Stones we are, we move on to the next show. Everybody's out here having one-night stands, but we are having one-episode stands.
We love them and leave them. We hit it and quit it. We smash and dash, but we do it for you, the listeners, to help you figure out what new shows to watch and what new shows to skip. Jobina, how are you doing?
I am a little bit sleepy because speaking of television shows, this one, of course, is not new at all. But my husband and I stayed up late trying to catch up on a show that we are woefully behind on.
Oh, what show is that?
That is the last season of Stranger Things.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
this is the last season. They're done.
I think this is it. So
okay. And how many seasons were there?
5.
Okay.
But this is it. So we have been in love with the show from the beginning, and we were really trying to catch up last night.
What, did you finish it last night?
No, we fell asleep.
I was gonna say that you and I are up early this morning because we're both busy. We have like busy schedules, and it's hard to coordinate schedules. But it turns out it was because you were up watching Stranger Things. That's why you're tired.
That's
Okay, let's get to the show for this week. It is called The Parent Test.
Yeah, so The Parent Test is like a 45-minute reality show. It's on Netflix. All about
it's not
different
on
parenting.
Netflix.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Luther, I was so ready to be prepared. It's on Hulu, of course. course, it's on Hulu. It's
But the
on
thing is, though, but the interesting is,
Hulu.
it's not actually. So it's on Hulu, yes, but it's an ABC show. Did you notice that?
Yes.
So
And
this show
Hulu
is
does a
coming
lot
on.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah, this show is coming on sort of week to week on ABC, like Thursdays at 9, something like that. And I guess Hulu has a relationship where they'll put it on Hulu. Hulu throws their commercials at it. Everyone wins, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but don't listen to me about where to find it. It's not, don't look for it on Netflix. It's not there. It's on Hulu.
Okay, what did you know about the show before it began? What did you know about the show before we picked it for this podcast?
Nothing. I had never heard of it. I rarely watch Hulu unless we've chosen a show. So Hulu did not have yet the opportunity to suggest to me to watch it. So nothing. What about you?
You know, the interesting thing is with Hulu. So Hulu is the only place where I get commercials. I just realized that recently. I mean, I get some commercials in podcast, but in terms of like television commercials, that's the only place I get them. And I got this commercial watching another show.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this looks good. And I think I sent it to you. I think you watched it before me, and you were like, oh my
and
goodness,
I was
there's
like, we
so
must.
much to discuss.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, how does the show look, sound, and feel?
It's bright. It's beautiful. There's lots of different families. It looks a little bit like any one of these reality TV show like wrap-up specials where like everyone's there to talk about what happened.
Right.
But mostly you've got the couples / single parents sitting on kind of like a panel with the host in front, and then they're rolling video of experiments and things that the families did in their individual parenting styles.
Right, and talking about it. It is a competition, which I didn't realize until I watched the show.
Me either.
That each week, 4 parents will go through these challenges with their children, and then the other sets of parents and groupings of parents will vote to put 3 parents through to the next round.
Yeah, which styles are the most effective and move them forward.
Which, as a competitor for me, there was a little bit of a conflict there because you're supposed to pick. I do like this. They said, we want kids who are emotionally whole, have healthy relationships, and can navigate today's world. So that's kind of like the bar they set for parenting.
Right. That's your rubric.
So you should put the best parents through. But if I'm competing in this thing, I would want to put the worst parents through so that I would have the best opportunity to beat them. Although they never really said what the parents win. So I don't know. Maybe it's just all fun and love and huggies and all that
you
stuff.
Get a high five at them.
Right. What else? Look, sound, and feel. There are 2 co-hosts. One's a woman, one's a man. And I think the man, his name is Adolph.
It is Adolf.
Well, Adolf Williams, something like that? No. Adolf Jones or
Goodwin or who knows?
He's supposed to be the expert. He's a psychologist.
He's
got 7 kids or 8 kids. She has a couple kids but she's there as kind of the color host.
She
and
is.
He's supposed to provide this analysis, which I mean, it's only 1 episode, but he didn't really add that much to the show for me.
Yeah, I feel like the 2 of us could also have been hosting the show because the level of expertise that they brought, I just was like, I mean, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I found him to be lacking, which is funny because there was another parent in the back row who had a lot to say.
He was very sophisticated in his
felt
responses.
like he thought he was supposed to be emceeing the show because he had a lot to say. And he was like, well, you did 3 things well. The first thing you did was this. Second, it was just like, are they paying you to do this analysis? He was good, though. I liked him.
But really quickly, I need to understand why Adolf's parents would have named him Adolf.
Oh, so did you read, what is his name? The Daily Show guy, the black guy on the Daily Show.
Trevor Noah.
Did you read his autobiography?
I listened to it on Audible.
Okay, that's right. We are both Audible people. Do you remember there was a segment in there? Actually, I think the kid's name was Hitler. He had a friend named Hitler.
Yeah,
and
it was a DJ, right? And they were, yes.
But he talked about how the South African educational system didn't teach the black kids fully about Adolf Hitler, but they knew that Adolf Hitler was against the Europeans, and they also did not like the Europeans, so they named
They would name their kids
Hitler.
Wow.
And I'm wondering if this guy, whose name is Adolf, somehow came out of some colonized group where they weren't fully educated on who Adolf Hitler really did or what he did to Jewish people and black people, it turns out.
Yeah.
And named him Adolf as a sort of a get back to
I
the
guess,
white people.
but
So
I
don't
was
know.
aghast at his name. And then secondarily, and on a much pettier level, I was disturbed by his hairline. I was like, what is happening with Dr. Adolph's hair? He was an interesting looking cat.
Yeah, hairline for men is a big deal.
It's a serious issue.
It is a serious, especially if you're going to be on TV.
Yes.
The things that we do. There's a guy who does Fox Sports. His name is JB James Brown. His hairline is notoriously. What do they do? Like a spray paint on?
Oh, wait. I've seen him. Yes.
It is not good. So when you look at it straight on, which is
It's fine.
99% of the time, you're getting it straight on camera. Every now and then you get that side angle and you're thinking, oh,
what has happened here?
Goodness. Oh my goodness. And you just wonder, if they're paying him millions of dollars and they say put this spray on, I guess.
But also, to me, if they're paying him millions of dollars, there's an opportunity for him to go get some sort of hair transplant, to migrate some hair that's growing from the back to the front. I just feel like there are procedures in place that if you have the resources.
Right. But maybe it's not that
you
deep to him. And he's
Maybe
like, I'll just spray this on an hour before the show and I'll go home and be my normal self.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, this is a complete tangent, but I'm a grow old gracefully guy. With wrinkles and with gray, I just don't see. Now, I'm fortunate because I still have a forward hairline, so I never had to face it. But I'm just not, and I have a youthful looking face. Look, I'm not gonna, I have that privilege, so to speak. I have the youthful. When I shave, people tell me I look like I'm 25 years old, which I think is ridiculous. But yeah, I'm just a girl old grace. I don't see myself going through all that. But I'm not on TV, so I don't know a struggle.
Right.
I don't know a struggle.
I feel like I was 100% committed to growing old gracefully until I started to be able to see that I was growing old. I was like, maybe some intervention at some point down the road will be necessary.
Okay. All right. So the parents that they had. So let's talk about this. The first challenge. They do two challenges. One was a high dive test where they say we want your kid to go to the local pool and jump off the highest diving board. The second one was your kids. Parents can't say no. So whatever the kids ask,
yes
the parents say yes. Right. So then they kind of go through, okay, here's how this parent did. And they've sort of categorized each parent. Like one set of parents was new age, one was intensive, one was routine, and one was natural parenting. And they sort of show this 5-minute sort of snippet of how they interacted with the child.
At home, yeah.
And then they come back and, like you said, then they discuss. And the parents in the back row kind of discuss, and the parents in the front row sort of provide some context for why they did what they did. So that's kind of the structure of the show.
Right.
And we usually ask what sort of deeper themes came up in the show, but this show is all about deeper themes.
It's all about the themes. They're on full display.
They are on full display. So let's go through and let's just go through and talk about what we saw. All right. So the new age parents, their thing is everything is a yes. Kids do what they want to do. They talk about what they want to talk about. And very early on, the mother says she grew up in a strict household. And as soon as she left that strictness, I think she grew up Muslim.
She grew up Muslim, and he grew up super Christian.
Right.
And the two of them were like, no more rules. We're not doing it.
Well, what immediately came up is this idea that many of us parent in rejection of the way we were parented. And then also in the show, many of us parent in accord
Right.
with the way we were parented. And I mean, I don't know if that's the best way to do it. Like, I don't know if either of those is the best path.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's got to be a middle where you say, what was good about the way that I was parented? Let me
Right.
take those practices forward. What do I objectively believe was not healthy, like left me scarred in some way, it damaged me in some way? I'm going to abandon those practices. But I feel like you have to evaluate the way that you were parented.
But I don't know if I'm the best person to evaluate that. I mean, yeah, if there was abuse, I can say.
Yeah.
Even we talk about one of the intensive parents. She was raised
She
by
was
intensive and passed it
parented
on.
the same way.
So I'm just not sure if I'm the best person to evaluate that, because a lot of times I think, oh, I'm successful because my parents did X, Y, Z, when in reality, I might be successful in spite of my parents doing X, Y, Z. And it can be difficult for me without sort of doing the work and maybe even talking to a psychologist to know, was this something that was beneficial,
Yeah.
or was this something that I had to overcome? And it comes up with spanking all the time.
I was going to say with
People are
spanking,
like, I was
feel
spanked
like,
and I respected my
hate
parents.
that. Oh, I hate that. I feel like with spanking, I'm 100% for sure that it's something I had to overcome.
Yeah, yeah. But people sort of use that as to say, like, look how good of a person I became.
I'm fine.
And I was spanked. And it's like, yeah, and you are fine, maybe, possibly, maybe you're a raging asshole. I don't know. But I just don't think we're the best people. And that came up time and time again. Here's how I was raised, so I want to emulate that. And then here's how my parents raised me, and I don't like. I want to reject that. So I was like, that was a little bit. Even though I thought the New Age parenting was good, I just didn't like how it came into being.
Okay. Well, and what was interesting to me about the New Age parenting was like the reactions of the people in the back. Like, there were definitely some families who were like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen or heard. Like, they were not okay with what these folks were doing.
So they had this swing in their house. They had mounted a swing. And so I'm doing a home renovation right now. And I'm thinking, oh, how can I get that swing?
That's a great idea.
I love that.
Yes, I love it.
Because, first of all, two reasons. I am a mover. I like to move. I don't like to sit still. And like sitting on a swing is an opportunity for me to sit and be moving.
And move.
But I also have a daughter who's a mover. And I think she would like that. So I have not run this by my wife yet. But I am trying to think about like, where can I put a swing in this house?
Yeah.
So hopefully she doesn't listen to this until the swing is up. And then I'll be like, oh, let's just try it out. I can take it down. All right, the next set of parents were the intensive parents. And I think sort of stereotypically they were Asian, which I felt like that was a little bit on the nose.
It was poorly played,
Yeah, they could have found another parent. But their child is 6. And the intensive parents, they sort of served as the punching bag for everyone else in this episode.
People let them have it.
But they didn't help themselves because they said things that sounded strange. They also so with the high dive test, what the psychologist said was, it isn't
It's not about your child jumping off.
Right.
Yeah.
It's how you interact with the child. And I would even say like the intensive parents, they just failed. They failed in the high dive test and they failed in the say yes test. I mean, they just did not do well.
Yeah, in terms of them saying things that were weird, like, did you notice when she said she thrives on negativity? Like, she likes it.
The
I was
6-year-old daughter thrives on negativity.
She thrives on it. She likes it when we talk to her this way. I was like, I'm pretty sure she doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, they kind of put themselves. They set themselves up for some of that.
They said stuff like, so that was one thing. So they're the ones that brought this 10,000 hour rule, right? Their child is learning to play violin, or piano. I don't know which one it was, but they brought up this 10,000 hour thing, and we're gonna make sure they said stuff like, we don't even take breaks on her birthday. Like she gets up and she works on her birthday. And then the dad said she's very competitive, so we have an advantage in this competition, and none of that was good. Like it backfired. They did not have an advantage. The child did not jump off the diving board.
Did not, and they did not interact well with her.
They did not interact with the child. So
as a result.
And then the mother said she doesn't want her child to grow up to be a loser. And she says all homeless people.
I was like, oh my God.
Don't like their parents. And she was like,
and they're all losers. I was like, oh no.
And love me later. And people reacted poor. I mean, people were crying on stage.
It was,
saying my parents accused me of being a loser because I didn't marry a doctor, or I didn't get this educational achievement, and I didn't do this. I just thought.
I was like, the love you later is probably not gonna manifest. Yeah.
Although, I mean, and she was the one who said, like, my parents raised me to be education first. And I'm doing that for my child.
She deeply appreciates it.
And it's just like, ugh. So they were the punching bag. Like I said, their daughter did not jump off the diving board, and they did not interact with the child well. There was the routine couple where they said, so their parenting style was interesting because they said, we are routine in our lives, so it
works for them.
So we're going to put this on our children. And routine is just structure. We have a schedule every day. We have a reward system for basically following the schedule. And
including a scoreboard in the house.
Including a scoreboard
I was like,
in the house. Now, I did think that they interacted with their children well, and all the other parents were like, "Oh, I wish." One woman even said, "Like, I wish my dad talked."
I wish my dad had been like you,
which was really cool. Their children did eventually jump off the diving board. They are a gay couple, just FYI. So shout out to the gays. And then there was a natural parenting couple, and their whole thing is the kids play outside. They don't mind the kids getting dirty. Let kids develop at their own pace. There's no pressure. I don't remember how their kids did, but I think they interacted well with their children.
She jumped off. She did.
Okay.
She was afraid, but she did it.
Right. Then on the back row, which we didn't get into those parenting styles, but they sort of labeled people as they began to talking. There's a helicopter parent. There's a high achievement. So the high achievement was the black guy who had the most to say.
He's the guy who thought he was the host.
Right? And then they had free range parenting. I think there was I think there's 12 different parenting styles. And of course, like, you know, the intensive parent, they're not representing all intensive parenting.
Right.
And I think a lot of parenting styles probably are a mix of several things. So it's kind of weird to me how they shoehorned these parents into these styles. I'm not sure they would always put all the time.
It's reality TV, though. Like, they've got to do it.
Right. Okay. The Yes to Everything Day. The routine parents, the kids, they immediately said, we want the iPad.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what my kids would say. Like, that would be the first thing they want. And then I think another parenting group, the kids said, we want you off your phones. And I was like, yeah, my kids would say that too. Like, they would tell me, what we want is for you not to be on your phone. Because I am always on my phone.
Huh.
And I tell them, no, sometimes I'm working on my phone.
Right. This is work.
I thought I'm playing. But I don't really have games on my phone. But yeah, I'm always on my phone. I'm always scrolling. I'm always writing something. And I'm doing work. I'm responding to emails. So I am 100% sure my kids would say, put your phone down.
I thought Yes Day was interesting with the routine parent because the kid asked if he could slap his dad in the face.
Yeah.
And this was seriously emotional for everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Because he both said yes, and he said, why do you want to do that? And that's going to hurt me, and I think it's going to hurt you. But the kid wanted to do it, and he did.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that?
I feel like, there's this whole sort of argument about kids really desiring and needing control. So, like, they want to exercise control of how they spend their time. They want to be making some of their own choices.
Right.
And I think that slap in the face, it wasn't about him loving his dad. It was like, I don't have a lot of control of what I do. And so in this moment where I do have control, I want to do something completely off the rails because
Right,
I don't
right.
really get opportunities to do things like that. I think it was more about him exercising choice and control than it was about his, because I think he did feel bad. Like on the back end of it, he was
Right,
like,
right.
that didn't turn out as great as I thought.
Yeah, I think someone had made the comment about when you put your kid, when you completely put your kid in these boundaries.
Yeah.
When you remove those boundaries, now they don't know where other healthy boundaries are. And he crossed
exactly.
a boundary. I don't know. I have two very silly children. Well, I have three silly children. I could see them doing this and it not meaning that much. I could see them coming up with the most ridiculous thing. And I wouldn't even take it that poorly. Like I roughhouse with my kids all the time. It's funny because I had read somewhere that fathers should be physical with their daughters so that they understand what physicality feels like and strength and things. So I've always played, not that I fling them around the room, but I always wrestle with them. And I'll like push them a little, like teasingly push them a little bit. So I could see my daughter being like, "Oh, I'm gonna slap you."
Yeah.
And they would slap me, and I don't think I would react in any way at all. I would laugh. I would think it's funny. The dad was like, "That hurt me." I'm thinking, that didn't hurt you. Like, come on, like.
No, he didn't mean physically though. I think he just was embarrassed. He's like, this is on television and my child is slapping me in the face. Yeah, I think he was just embarrassed.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have. But it was a big deal because
It was a big deal on the show.
So this is the gay couple, and the other parent who wasn't slapped, he talked about how he was picked on as a kid, and he said it sort of hurt him that his son took pleasure in some sort of physical violence,
Right.
because that brought back all those memories for him. And I was like, oh, that is so powerful. It's powerful, but at the same time, man, I really think you guys overplayed.
You're like, it wasn't that big a deal.
You just overhyped it. And I remember listening to a podcast many, many years ago about a psychologist saying parents overburden themselves with trying to make everything a teachable moment. Like every time your kid makes a mistake or every time they say something that's not all the way true or real, like parents feel this burden, like I have to correct my child. I have to make everything a teachable moment. And the person was saying it's unrealistic to do that. Like sometimes you have to they did something wrong. We're just going to just move on.
Yeah.
And even if you felt all this energy of wrongness, I mean, they just blew it up. I mean, and even the
They
people
made
in the
it a
back
very
row
big
were
deal.
just like,
Yes.
there's no boundaries. And the kid was like, what, 10?
Yeah, he's a little kid.
So it's like, yeah. And the black guy in the back was like, the kid doesn't understand boundaries. Well, he's 10. Right? No kid understands
No, they
boundaries
don't.
at 10.
They don't.
Right? So, and they don't have to learn it today. Right?
Yeah.
They don't have to learn it. They don't have to. There's 40-year-olds who are living healthy, productive lives who still have boundary mistakes issues. And we just think our kid needs to be perfect and they should know all the things. And it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on parents.
Well, let me tell you, I love the New Age family on Yes Day because there was nothing different. The kids were like, can we eat in your bed? They could not even really think of anything to do because their life is all about yes anyway.
Yeah, and that was the thing. They were like, we're going to be curious to see what
They
our
had a
parents
typical
ask
day.
for because we always say yes.
Yes.
And the same thing was true with the natural parenting. The kids were like, those were the ones that turn your phone off, but they
Turn
were
your
like, let's
phone
play
off.
outside. And their parents were like,
that's
this is
what
what
you
we
always
encourage them to
do.
do all the time. So I thought that was a win, that your child wants to do what you typically
normally
have them do.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Which was not the case with the intensive parent because that child was like, get out of my face. I'm going on
She
my
was
iPad.
like, don't teach me anything.
I'm not doing anything.
I'm going to play in the
Right.
basement. I'm going to be on my
Right.
iPad. I'm not practicing. I'm not doing any math problems. Like she was
And it
like,
just
bump y'all.
contradicts what the parents were saying about our kid loves to practice. She
No.
loves to train. And when the kid got to choose, the kid was like, hell no.
Yeah, I'm not. Well,
So
did you notice the mom said she never asked to play with me? No, she doesn't want to play with you.
Yeah. That got, yeah. that got a little sad.
It was a
the
little
thing
sad.
is, it's like that doesn't trigger anything for you. That something's not right. That your child never wants to play with you. Never.
Never.
And so this is one of the questions that came up for me in this show. How are we getting feedback about our parenting style? And I'm going to ask you, Jabina, in what ways are you getting feedback from your parenting style? Are you listening to are other parents telling you, I don't think that's right?
No.
Are your children are you listening to your children? And I think we all believe we're listening to our children, but are we talking to are you talking to therapists? In what ways are you getting feedback?
None. I mean, aside from any time my husband and I disagree about which style should be applied, that's a level of feedback, because he will say, I think we should be doing X, and I'm saying, well, no, I think we should be doing Y. But other than that, to your point, aside from believing that I listen to my children and observe my children and try to gauge their response, I think people just do what comes natural to them.
Yeah.
And for me, what was interesting about this show is I don't know how many people are this intentional about their parenting style. I've chosen a style. This is why. This is what we do. I think for the most part, people are just more intuitive. They just do what they think is right. They hope it's the right thing. Maybe they're wise enough to adjust course when they see that it's not. But I'm at least I'm not. I feel like I haven't chosen a style and adopted all the principles, and and I certainly don't get any feedback.
But to that point, I think maybe they watched these parents and maybe they gave them a style. Oh, you're this style. But so the feedback thing, I think my takeaway was I don't get feedback either.
Yeah.
And it is clear after watching this show that I might need to get some feedback. And I need to try to figure out how I can get some feedback to make sure that something obvious, like something obvious is not being missed. Right? And we think we're seeing, I think I would see what's obvious, but it's clear from this show, maybe not.
Maybe not. Right? Well, and maybe family counseling is the place where that feedback happens.
Right.
I have never had family counseling, but I've heard from people who've done family counseling. One colleague I know did family counseling, and the psychologist had them do an exercise and observed the family in the exercise and gave them feedback on I just think that's where you get the feedback.
What about your mom? Does she ever say girl, you need to spank that kid, or
no? Oh no.
Or just any other type of criticism or positive feedback?
Yeah, I mean, my mom is opinionated, so she's going to interject. She is going to interject, but I think that's more about her personal style.
Right.
I think for the most part, I think my mom concurs with me about the way I try to individualize for my kids, because they're all very different.
Right.
And yet sometimes, because she is a psychologist, she'll have some feedback on things that are developmentally appropriate, and I appreciate that.
I think what you said there was also something that I found missing in this show was the individualized nature of parenting.
It's and the of course same approach for all the kids.
Of course they can't follow all the parents for all the time. So I'm sure there was some, but it just seemed like we are scheduled people, so our kids are going to be scheduled people. Yeah. But what if one of your kids doesn't like scheduling?
That's not how they're wired.
Or what if one of your kids doesn't like the natural parenting where you say yes to everything? What if one of your kids needs a little more structure,
more routine, and
routine? I just didn't see that, and I think you're right in. I think most parents probably do have an individualized approach.
Yeah, you have
because they haven't decided this is our thing and all our kids are going to be doing this thing. I think it's kind of like we're going to just try to make it work however we can.
That's right.
And I think most parents realize that our two kids are different, so there are going to be different sets of ways we do things.
Yeah.
And maybe to the, it is reality TV, so they had to, because a part of what makes you watch is you like to be critical and you like to think that you're better than everyone else.
Yes.
So maybe they played that up. Would you go on a show like this? Would you?
Not under
Would you
any
do this?
circumstance. No. No.
No, I was thinking, like, what if they paid you $500,000? No.
Because for me, maybe it's just my kids, but that scenario of the high dive, it can turn out any number of ways on any number of days in my house. I mean, it just depends. Sometimes my kids wake up and I'm like, what happened during the night here, friend? Because you are already mad at the world. I don't understand. All you did was go to sleep and wake up. Right. And other times they are like, it is time to seize the day, Mom. Like, it's a great day. So there is no way. Would you put your kids on? Would you and your family?
I think so. I think it'd be interesting because I wouldn't have thought about this before, but I would see it as an opportunity to get feedback. I would see it as an opportunity, like, turn some cameras on, and let's do ourselves, and let other parents see, like, dude, you are an asshole. You know, like, they may say, like, you think you're a nice guy, but like, here, look at the footage, like, you're a lunatic. So I would probably do it for that purpose. But see, my kids wake up every day happy. They wake up every day. All three kids wake up like, today is the day that's going to be the funnest day of my life. They every day they think that. Yes.
Oh.
And my oldest daughter has gotten a little more in touch with reality and has sort of faced some of the challenges of the world. So she doesn't have that, but she is very much like me in that she has a positive disposition. She is always smiling, not from a place of fakeness, but she's
generally happy.
She's just generally happy. So I would be less worried about my kids, having a weird day. But my kids would, when those cameras are on, though, they would.
They're gonna ham it up.
They're gonna ham it up. We want to smack daddy. We want to throw daddy off the house. Like, they would say stuff like that,
but
and I'd be like, really?
My kids, though, I feel like this is a phenomenon without cameras. Like, when my kids get around another adult or a teenager that they want to impress, a go-to strategy is to, like, how can we mistreat our parent? Like, and I'm like, wait a minute. What? Why are you talking to me like that? Like, you can't get around other people and decide that you are brand new with Mom, but they do.
Right. So, one question: what do you think your kids would do if they had a yes day?
This is hard because I feel like I'm certainly not new age. Like, I don't say yes to everything, but I don't say no to a lot of things. Like, my kids, they do have screen time. My kids run all over the house. They play everywhere. They have toys everywhere. Like, I think my kids would probably ask for experiences because we're all so busy. We do spend a lot of time at home, like, where it's like I'm working, I'm doing. My kids would probably ask for experiences on a yes day, and like ice cream galore. Like, they would want a ton of sweets and experiences. Is my guess.
Yeah, I would say my kids would ask for the trampoline park. They'd ask for ice cream. They'd ask for roller skating.
Yeah, same. My kids are going to be like, getting out.
But they would, I think they would want me to also roller skate and me to also trampoline park. And I do sometimes.
Yeah.
Or they would want, me and my wife, they would want both of us to also do these activities with them. And they would say, leave your phone at home.
Yeah.
Okay, let's skip all the way to marry, kill, or one night stand. Let's skip all the way there. Oh, God.
All these people. I don't know.
I'm going to ask you. I'm conflicted. If I want to ask you. I want to ask you about the guy in the backseat guy. His name was, let me get his name because I wrote it down just for you. Dennis Williams. He was a high achievement parent. We haven't seen his parenting style. But he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say.
And we saw a little clip of him with his son. Like, they're clinking coffee mugs. They seem to be completely aligned. He's obviously a single dad because he's there by himself.
Right.
But I am going to plot and plan his murder.
Oh,
no way! There is not one
Really?
single way that I would be with this man in any other way. There's no way.
What?
He thinks he knows too much. He has an opinion about everything. He's inserting himself where he was not invited. Like, I can see the arguments. I can hear it. It's a no for me with Dennis.
I felt bad for Dennis because, all the things you said is the way it came up. But I was wondering, I wonder if he's really like that. Or if they just played more of his clips.
Yeah.
Because
That's
he
true.
was saying the most intelligible stuff.
It can all be manipulated, but
or if they wanted to make him seem like this guy has a lot to say, or maybe that's the way his personality was. But yeah, it was kind of like easy. Like you don't have to
a bit
be
much
critical
for
of
me.
everybody.
Right.
Yeah. But wasn't he an attractive man? I thought he was an attractive man.
He was handsome. He was a handsome man, and I respect the fact that. And again, we haven't seen him in the competition, but it seems like he's a single dad. He's responsible. He's raising his son.
Right.
I like all of those things, but I don't think we would
must
get
not.
along.
Not even for one night. Okay.
No. So I then am going to give you, I don't know her name, but I'm going to give you the intensive mom.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm going to say something. So this is what me and my friends used to say. This is so terrible. When we would come across a woman who was a little too rigid, a little too tight, we would
I already
say,
know where this is going.
we would say she just needs a little, cleanly I'll say she needs a little loving. She needs a little she needs a little physical love of a physical nature.
Right.
Physical affection. So I would volunteer myself in
You
this
would volunteer as
situation.
tribute.
Right, I volunteer as tribute to put it down on her to just loosen her up a little bit. So I would one night stand. I would one night stand her. I would take one for the team.
Really
I would take one for the team.
I thought I was going to get you into a murder situation, but no.
I'm taking one for the team, man. I'm doing it. I'm doing it
my.
for parents everywhere. I'm doing it for
Parents everywhere.
Okay. Jobina, are you going to watch this show more, or was this a one episode stand?
Oh, I'm totally going to watch it more because I want to see what's going on with the parents in the back row. Like, I want to know what their styles are. I really want to observe, and I also want to learn something about these parenting styles. Like, I have one way of doing things that's a mixture of lots of things, but I'm always open to learning something. So when you were talking about feedback, I don't solicit feedback, but I do try to read about parenting. I try to learn about what works and what doesn't work, and make some sort of judgment about that. So I'm really open to seeing what other people are doing, and I'm definitely going to watch the next episode.
Yeah, me too. I'm in for the exact same reason. This is not feedback, but it's information.
It's information.
And I mean, it's so the one condition that I would not watch, if it starts to feel a little too reality TV-ish, where things don't seem genuine or things seem taken out of context just to make people seem bad, that's what makes me stop. But otherwise, it does seem like information, and I don't need the other parents to talk about, be critical of each other. I just want to just see the interaction.
Yeah,
with
I
the
just want to
kids.
see it.
Right. So I'm definitely in. I'll be watching more. I think this is going to be released week to week because it's on ABC. So I don't think you can binge it. So I'll be all in for that. Okay. I think we covered everything, right?
Covered it.
All right. So thank you all for listening to One Episode Stand. If you have enjoyed this episode, you can subscribe to the podcast to be alerted when new episodes drop. If you're listening on iTunes, please give us a rating. The theme music is Freedom by Paradox Hip Hop. And we'll be back next time with another series premiere. Jobina, let's end on this. Every story has a moral. What was the moral of this episode?
Okay, I think the moral of this episode is there are many, many ways to parent children. All of them potentially having good aspects. But what we want, to your point, was the central theme that they talked about: whole, healthy, happy kids. Like, that's the objective, and how you get there, it can vary.
Yeah, my moral is it can vary except for the intensive. Like that, there was
Right, let
nothing
that go.
redeeming. If you're doing that, let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Because they talked about, and it, they talked about the parents value more the achievements than the person
than the
that
actual
they've
child.
created.
Yeah.
Let it go, folks. 10,000 hours, it's been debunked. It's not real. Don't do it to your kids. Okay, all right, see y'all next time.
Bye, everybody.